Alright, and welcome to the next video in my How to Make a Horror Game series, going over kind of building up the framework for a horror game as a teaching tool. But hey, if there's a company out there that wants to give me a few $1 million in a couple of years to make this game, get a hold of me. Let's make it happen. We can scare the pants off of some people and make a damn good game. Okay, this video is about the setting. Now, obviously, if you've been watching the other videos up until now, you know that the setting is a haunted mansion, which is really all that's important at this stage, really. But a few details isn't a bad idea, and some ideas going into the creation of the game. So right off the bat, I want to do a 3-story mansion that gives us plenty of space to work in, lots of things that can happen. A 3-story mansion plus a basement. That's 4 stories in total, or 4 levels in total. A mansion, lots of rooms, lots of things that can happen, plus gardens. Okay, so that gives us tons of space for things to happen in. Lots of room, lots of space, lots of things that can happen. Alright, but here's really where it gets kind of interesting, is that one of the things I want to build into this game is kind of randomness. This is a bit inspired by Rose Red, but also my love of dynamics and kind of randomness in games, which is every time you start a new version of this game, the rooms will be different. They will change around, they will move, be on different floors, different places. So it'll be one standard layout for the mansion and the gardens, but everything will change every time you start a new game. Okay? And with that system, we could even make it, kind of like, again, like the miniseries Rose Red, we could make it to where rooms move around while you're playing too, which would be interesting. It would mess you up, especially if you were in a room in one area and suddenly you found yourself in a completely different part of the mansion, cut off from everybody else, or away from everybody else. Lots of ways to play with that. And of course, the way you do that is pretty simple. Modular construction. You have a, basically a framework of the mansion itself, and then inside things can shift around modularly. Of course, that would mean making most of the rooms pretty much the same size, all the same size, which is, well, not necessarily, because you can always make it to where, something like a library that's normally a large room is simply 2 units of room. An indoor swimming pool would probably be 2 or 3 room units. So there's lots of different ways to do that. But I mean, one of the cool things about doing it that way with a modular system is that, let's say with 3 stories plus a basement, you could have, I don't know, you could come up with like 50 different rooms, and do different things and designate different rooms. The basement will have its own set of rooms, and the first floor will have its own set of rooms, and then the top 2 floors can have a whole set of rooms that can, move around, and it doesn't really matter which second or third floor they're on. So, and you can have them shift in and out, during the game possibly, or just at the beginning, to create a brand new mansion every time you play, so that you're not seeing the same rooms, even if, just shifting them around isn't really as cool as having, like, let's say you have 15 room units on the first floor and we do 25 rooms. That means that any given game there's going to be 10 rooms that aren't being used, that are just kind of in memory. They're stored, obviously, it's a game. I don't know why I'm going into anything like that. That's way outside of what the framework here. It's just that the idea of dynamics and making it to where no 2 games will ever be exactly the same. Well, unless the game is played many, 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 many times. But generally speaking, you could play it hundreds of times in your lifetime, and it would never be exactly the same way twice. I like that. Lots of replay value. And also, because of this idea of modular design, you could also put a map creator in the game, kind of like Amnesia has, that allows the players to come up with their own maps and, do their own thing and create their own stories and, all that good stuff, which again creates tons of replay value. And I like that because it more bang for your buck, basically. I mean, um, yeah, it's just, you spend that much money and time working on a game. Why wouldn't you want to make a game that has lots and lots of replay value and really good long legs to run on? You know what I mean? That gives you time to work on the next one. So, the whole modular thing and map creator and allowing players to create their own scenarios, stories, and maps and all that stuff. You could even make it to where the mansion, the framework of the mansion, is different each time you load the game. Have like 4 different frameworks, complete with facades and even style changes. That would be a lot of work for the modelers and the skinners, though. Well, not necessarily. I mean, once you have the basic stuff down, because you're going to need tables and chairs and all that basic stuff. Once you have all the basics down, it's just a matter of putting everything in the right context. Do it off of probability. If you have 5 different ones, that's a 20% chance for each one. You could have like Victorian mansion, modern. Well, this is supposed to be an old haunted mansion, so we don't want modern. But you know what I mean. It's just a matter of taking that basic construct and then putting different skins and stuff on it so you can have lots of different variations without putting a whole lot more work on the modelers and skinners, which is kind of how Amnesia did it. Again, more bang for your buck, but it's I like that whole idea of dynamics and randomness being included in the game for the setting. And of course, it's a creepy old haunted mansion, and horror game wise, there's few things that are better or more cliche, of course, but still, haunted mansions work. It's classic. And quite frankly, I'm kind of tired of the haunted hospital thing. That's been done a lot over the last few years. About the only one that's really done haunted mansion is just the Amnesia games. And some of these games I've seen, like The Evil Within, is a bit too big for my taste. Because, it works in a way, but at the same time, by making really, really big areas and going all over the place, you're taking a little bit or a lot of that element of isolation. Well, that's still there, but confinement, actually. Not isolation, but confinement. If you're stuck in one place, a mansion, you're confined. If you cannot get out of this mansion for whatever reason, you're stuck. That makes you feel helpless. Whereas if you have a huge map that you can roam around in, it doesn't feel as restricted, and it gives you more that you can do. More space, less claustrophobic. So I like tight, and a mansion is big, which gives you plenty of room, but it's still a confined space. And if you make it to where they can't get out, you have claustrophobia is an element that can set in. So that's always preferable to wide open spaces. Of course, they can get out into the gardens, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything because you just put a really nice big high wall with spikes on it around the gardens and they can't get out. So they might be able to get out of the house into the gardens, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go anywhere. They're still stuck in the mansion, and its grounds. And you just make the gardens really overgrown and creepy, so you don't feel safe there either. Okay, so I think that wraps up the setting pretty well. I don't think I have anything else to add to that part of this video. Thanks for watching. Please give me that upvote. It's always appreciated. Leave your questions and comments and ideas for further video series or videos, individual videos. Please share this video with, anybody you know who might enjoy it. Websites, forums, friends who are into this sort of stuff, anything like that. Let people know about it. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.